It's the Full Force News Burst Extra, brought to you by GeneralsJoe'sReborn.com, with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. With a number of new name-only reveals emerging over the past few weeks, it's time to deep dive on a classic vehicle with a twist. So let's talk classified Cobra Ferret and Ferret Scout. I know what you're thinking. What's the point of doing this one when we've basically seen it? Well, we've only seen a little bit of the Cobra Ferret, and there is a figure to come with it that's still shrouded in some mystery, but yeah, I get it. Even so, let's talk about this PulseCon name-only reveal that we pretty much know about for the most part. It's the Cobra Ferret. So this wonderful little vehicle first made its debut in 1985 in the United States of America and quickly became a favourite for many Mini Joe fans. Despite showing two figures riding the vehicle on the box art, it didn't actually come with Storm Shadow and Firefly, but the Ferret was so cool it didn't matter. Often promoted with the Crimson Twins in both the commercials and comics, the Cobra Ferret was packed with cool features including a soft rubber seat with space for two, handlebar steering that directed the front gun, rubber tyres, removable missiles, a rear removable storage hatch, a huge cannon on the left hand side of the occupants despite what the box art tried to convey, and some very detailed sculpt work. For a smaller vehicle it really packed a punch, and I have to say, could you imagine firing that cannon whilst driving? It would probably spin you into infinity. The Ferret was also made available via mail order in 1989 all the way through to 1993. The colours were more vibrant on those versions starting in 1991 however. The Ferret showed up in the Sunbow cartoon as well quite often and stood out for me in the Pyramid of Darkness 5-parter as a dreadnought vehicle in space. It also made its way to other areas of the globe including Argentina via Plastorama as the Quadrimoto Metrala, and in Europe for the Netherlands, Greece, Italy, Spain and Belgium. It was also released in the UK where we got the vehicle packaged in an Action Force box in 1987. I bloody loved the thing and enjoyed hours of fun zooming around the back garden with it. I vividly recall utilising Snake Eyes in the driver's seat when he sequestered the quad bike to help escape Cobra Island, located somewhere between the big tree and Mum's freshly planted azaleas. Backyard shenanigans aside, this was a well-loved vehicle and it's no wonder why it was re-released and sometimes even retooled a number of times following its debut. Now we're not talking vamp amounts of reuse, but there are a number of other versions that follow, and we start with my favourite, the Tiger Paw. This beauty came out in 1988 as a Joe Subteam repaint and made a lot of sense as a captured vehicle repainted and used for the good guys. Firefly and Storm Shadow were replaced on the box art with Dusty and Lifeline, and the new deco gave the mould a completely new feel and attitude. This version also found its way to Canada as the Tiger Pat, and in Europe and the UK during the G.I. Joe The Action Force rebrand in 1990. In 2006 the Cobra Ferret ATV and the Coil Ferret ATV were released in a 2-pack as a JoeCon exclusive, one in a brown dusty camo with the red weapon attachments and the other in green with gold armaments. Following those we got our first major retool in 2009 and the Snake Tracks ATV. Released with Scrap Iron version 7 for the Rise of Cobra line, it was also repackaged with Scrap Iron again the same year in a Sam's Club exclusive 2-pack with Sergeant Thunderblast and the Armoured Panther. The new additions included a separate front bumper panel with a moulded winch on the front and a massive new actual rocket firing side cannon that would no doubt cause even more damage to the victims on the other end of it, as well as the occupants. They went with a dark burgundy deco and a greyish blue for the armaments. The new additions definitely gave the vehicle a fresh look and feel, and the deco worked really well with Scrap Iron. It got a Green Joe makeover in 2011, still within the Rise of Cobra line, as the Tiger Claw ATV with Leatherneck version 7. They introduced more new parts with a different front panel, footrests replaced the small missile launchers on the sides, and a different rear panel and working rocket launcher. The launcher could also be removed and positioned on the ground using fold-out stands. Once again, the changes really freshened up the vehicle and must have been a slight nod to the Tiger Paw, with the name only of course. The last use for the vehicle was the 2013 JoeCon exclusive Night Force Covert Ops ATV. A simple green, grey and black repaint of the Tiger Claw ATV and Night Force added to their already pretty stacked motor pool. Which brings us to the classified Ferret and Ferret Scout. So what do we know so far? Well, We have had multiple Easter eggs for the vehicle and driver courtesy of the Vamp box art and promotional images, as well as leaked images of the Ferret Scout helmet from pre-pro collectors. As far as we can tell from the driver, it looks very likely that we are getting a female figure based on the Vamp render artwork on the box. My money would be on a slightly reworked Valkyrie figure, with a new secondary and the removable helmet of course. In terms of the vehicle, it looks like we will be getting a very close approximation of the original design in much the same way as the Cobra Flight Pod or Trouble Bubble. We have seen most of the vehicle now thanks to that Vamp box render and one of the promotional images, which really gives us our best look of what we can expect when it gets officially revealed soon. The side cannon, front guns and general bodywork look very classically inspired, as well as that vintage blue, red and black deco. Something that Pat pointed out back when the Vamp was released and we started seeing the Ferret Scout helmet was just how uncanny it was to even have some type of homage backstory with the original Cobra ATV presentation art, which eventually became the Ferret. You could argue that those BMX style helmets are synonymous with quad bikes anyway, and the presentation art might never have been seen by Lenny and the design team, but I will be asking that question when I speak to them after the official reveal of course. Okay, now we've arrived at the repaint reuse section of my TED talk. The obvious one is also making me very excited, and that's the Tiger Paw. Of course we will get this. The more important question is who will come with it. For me, I would love to finally see Lifeline in the Classified series, and this would be a great way of including him, considering they love a box art cameo. That said, Lifeline really needs all his medic gear, and that would make more sense in a deluxe set. I would however be happy to get a lighter loadout for the Tiger Force version, say his medic case, backpack and oxygen mask, and then load him up for the regular version. In any case, this isn't Let's Talk Classified Lifeline, so I will also say that you could have a plethora of much easier repaints to join the Tiger Paw, such as Roadblock, Tripwire, Tunnel Rat, Shipwreck, heck even a repaint of Firefly as Sabretooth/Wreckage would be amazing. In fact, that is starting to make more sense when you take into consideration Firefly featured on the original Ferret box art. I wonder. Then there are the figures we know are coming, like Jinx and Alpine, who would both make good additions to the Tiger Paw set. A Night Force version would also be a great idea, considering there is a precedent and gives you a number of options for an included figure. Maybe we could get our third Outback, or even Night Force Shockwave, who feels almost inevitable at this point now. I would actually love to see them throw in new Steel Core figures in either the Tiger Force or Night Force versions. They could even give them a slightly different helmet design in a similar way to Clutch with the Vamp. You also have a great opportunity to do a Python Patrol version, which would make sense even if it hasn't been done before. It would also give us a Python Patrol version of the Ferret Scout, which would also be a good move. There has been a significant attempt to include new aspects in the line, so I would be more than open to some fresh new takes here, but I also like the thought of getting a few boxes ticked at the same time. So, in conclusion, I expect a very classic design for the vehicle with the red cannon, front guns, missiles and handlebars. I desperately want a squidgy seat, but I imagine that will be harder plastic, and of course removable squidgy tyres. The engine panel should still be incorporated to allow for some fun display options in the motor pool, and as for the figure, I fully expect a Valkyrie for the most part with the helmet and a new secondary. I'm very excited for this vehicle and cannot wait to see all the promo shots when the official reveal hits us all soon. Anyway, what do you guys think? Are you excited for the Cobra Ferret and Ferret Scout in the Classified series? Do you like the thought of getting new twists on troop builders in the future? Was this video worth doing considering we've pretty much seen it already? Let me know in the comments below. Okay team, lots more content to come, so keep it locked, stay fresh cheese bags, and as always, full force. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst Extra. Thank you for watching, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/TheFullForce. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well @TheFullForce Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force!